What's up, y'all? It's Gremlin back at Claname. I'm ready to do this thing. One of my favorite manipulations is sand. I'm going to go ahead and talk about it with Cardcaptor and give you the definition of what the sand represents. And that is, you break earth down into sediment. You manipulate that and then solidify it back into earth. That's the definition. That's what we're sticking with. Let's get to it. Alright, so we already talked about the sand from Cardcaptor, so we can go ahead and get rid of that one. That's all I wanted was the definition. On top of that, that gives us 16 more. I've not seen Shinikuman, Ultimate Muscle, or the Haunted House Shinbi Apartment, so I'm not even going to talk about them. That's Mummy and Sunshine. I know they have sand abilities. I've just not seen the show, so I'm not even going to look at that. So that's going to go ahead and narrow that down. I'm not going to talk about Runuganga or Shukaku because they're literal sand demons, and that speaks for itself. I will talk about Gaara, but not with Shukaku. So let's go ahead and knock out those, and then Mega Man NT Warriors. I'm not going to talk about Sandman just because Mega Man, I used to watch it as a kid. I've not really grown into watching. I pretty much dropped it, so I'm not going to talk about him. And then the last one that was added recently since I came back is Sajin Higawara from My Hero Academia. I'm not really going to talk about him either because I've not seen him personally. And, I don't think they show enough to credit him as one of them. Other than that, that leaves 10 characters that we could talk about, but 5 of which are from Fairy Tail. And I don't want to keep talking about Fairy Tail the whole time. So I'm going to pick one and do a top 5. And that's how we're going to run this. And, that's just really my standpoint on it. This is just who I enjoy watching, their powers, their use of the manipulation, and so on and so forth. So let's get to that. And I hope y'all enjoy this. We're going to get straight to it with number 5. So I'm going to go ahead and say Ganju Shiba is literally the worst definition of a sand manipulator. He is a sand manipulator. But he only has one credit, and that's when he goes against Yumi Chika in the beginning of Bleach. It's not really much credit. He did set some nice traps, but it was mainly all he did was disintegrate walls so that he could run away, and then he started doing a fireworks show. He's a good firework master, whatever. That's mainly what he uses his sand manipulation for, is to build gunpowder and stuff for his sister. Other than that, he doesn't really have any feats. He doesn't really do anything but run. He's there for comic relief, and that's it. I don't really want to elaborate on him too much because he doesn't have any feats to show other than that. And he still lost. Technically. He blew the dude up with fireworks. But Yumi Chika survived because he's still ongoing cast. So it's not like it really credits him. But since he does use sand, we did have to put him on here. And yeah, he's number 5 for me. He is probably the weakest on this list by far because he shows nothing but comic relief and fireworks, and a couple of escape routes through sand manipulation, and that's it. So we're going to go ahead and jump straight to number 4 because he is not worth it. Let's go. Okay, we're right here at number 4. We got to talk about Fairy Tail. So let me go ahead and break it down. Since I said there's 5, I got to give you my proposition of why I picked who I did. It's going to be a Jill. So let's just talk about it right now. So, Snarl, the very beginning episodes when Lucy, Gray, and Nasta all met each other, they took Happy, they were roasting him over a fire, they tied the dude up to a tree. He sinks the tree after he says one word, lullaby. Now, first of all, that starts the lullaby arc, but it's not canon, it's not in the manga. You didn't even need it. They just did it for animation purposes. But whatever. So he's not going to be talked about. Soul, he will not be talked about, even though he was very promising, bro. He was able to create sand memories. And those memories turned around and turned you into a stone if you got sucked into your old past. He just messed with the wrong one, and Elfman tapped it. He tapped it, and that was it, bro. And he just messed with the wrong memories. That's all it was. So he can't really be talked about. Max is a cool one. Max is just kind of laid back, chill, man. He's a great guy. He's got a little bit of screen time during the war that they did in the city. And it was one of the first ones, man. Like, I forget which dragon they went against. Like, it was obviously Nasta versus, I think, the Lightning or something. But other than that, Max has his moments, but he's not, like, major into it. And then you got Scorpion. Scorpion would have been my favorite, bro, but he is a zodiac sign. So he can only be called out through the key whenever Lucy decides to use him. And it was just like, he can't even make his own decisions. Like, it's like, nah, man. So we talking about Agil, bro. Agil, they literally said he was too powerful. That they had to dip because they could not beat him. And they all dipped. You know, he is the Desert King. That is his nickname, bro. You telling me the Desert King doesn't deserve to be in the top 5? Even though it's Fairy Tail? I love Fairy Tail. I just gave up on it when they stopped showing, like, they never show blood or nothing else. So I was like, I still watched it solely for the story. But no, he's the Desert King. They tried to run away, and this dude creates a chariot golem to chase their magic cart that they were running away on. And then they had no choice but to go ahead and fight. And he just shows time after time that he has the feats. But, and this is just a little biased, man, I cannot pick him to be higher on the list simply for the fact that Fairy Tail is a great story. They have great characters. But I gotta see some blood, man. You can't talk about you're damaged and there's no damage to your body, bro. And yeah, that might be a little biased, but I mean, he's a cool character. He's got cool feats. He can build stuff that nobody would even think of, that you don't see with other sand manipulators on this list. But I feel like with the rest of them on this list, he'd get clapped. It's just point blank, man. Like, it's, dude, I can't even see if I damaged you. I'm gonna kill you. It's like, I don't know. A little biased, like I said, man, but I can't get on board with Fairy Tail as much as I want because of that. And so I've only seen a few feats just solely for this video, really. I mean, I've watched Fairy Tail, but there's nothing to it. And without blood and gore and at least a little bit to show that they're getting hurt, I can't get on board with him being an overpowered sand manipulator. And that's why I put it that way. Plus, Fairy Tail's promising, man. They got more sand manipulators than anything, so it would have been great for this video if I could actually get on board with it. Iggy, I love Iggy, okay? He's one of my favorites. He has one of the best character developments, in my opinion. I'm not going to lie. I do show favoritism because once I saw sand manipulation, I was like, hell yeah. And then, to top that off, he's a good boy. You know, like, I mean, who would have thought, you know, because when they first show him, he's just lazy. He don't like people, doesn't care at all. You know, but he's being forced really to be there. But he still shows out. You know, he gets the job done. And by the end of it, with Polnareff, he is literally showing that he actually does have attached feelings for these humans that he was talking so much smack about in the beginning. And it was just so good. So his feats, you know, like he went against Pet Shop to defend other dogs that got killed prior to that. So that was pretty dope. And that was like his first eye-opening experience where he was like, humans aren't so bad. This human is crying over his dogs. So I'm going to go fight this falcon, eagle, like whatever you know what I'm talking about. That bird, Pet Shop. And it was ice versus sand. It was dope. He lost a limb, but he still came out with that dub. You know, got to respect it. After that, you know, there's also the point where he made an underwater cavern so that they wouldn't drown. And he just pulled the sand from the belly of the ocean. You know what I mean? And it's like, who else is doing that? You know, I've not seen anybody else that's able to really do sand without water affecting it. And I thought that was really cool that they put that into perspective. Like, normally water is the weakness to sand, but he was able to be on the ocean floor and still create a cavern for them all to survive. And then, you know, we get to the Polnareff scene, which, you know, rest in peace to my boy Iggy, man. You know, it was one of the most emotional scenes for me within JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And, you know, it hit me hard, you know, because not only is it a dog, but, like, it's a dog that's actually, you know, it came down to it. They knew they had to sacrifice themselves. And he went, nah, fam, this is me. Like, live your life. And then, you know, if you're not caught up on JoJo's, I mean, Polnareff turned around and ended up working for the enemy eventually. But we ain't even going to talk about that. We talk about my boy Iggy. And he's a solid 3, bro. Like, you know, I can't put him further, because he's only got those, like, main 3 feats where he was forced to fight, he chose to fight, and then he chose to die. But other than that, you know, if he was still alive through the series, I feel like we could have had a better debate on where to put him on that list. But as far as right now, he's solid 3. I wish he could be higher because he's such a good boy. I love him and his little chocolate thieving ass, man. Can't be mad at Iggy. Iggy was that dude. And that's all I got for Iggy. Solid 3. We're going to go ahead and go on to number 2 and number 1. And that's where it gets fun. Okay, so for the top spots, man, we got 2 and 1. We're going to try to give a little debate, man, because it's hard for me. You know, obviously, I'm playing favorites. I got my boy here. I got my boy back there. He's obviously very precious to me, and that's my boy Gaara, okay, from Naruto. But we also got Crocodile from One Piece, all right? And I don't want to play favorites because they're both dope, all right? When it comes to sand manipulation, you can't get more feats than they do because they got so much screen time between each other. The only thing that's going to be in effect is the fact that if they were to go one-on-one, who you got, man? You know, I mean, I know I got the shirt. I'm sorry, I don't have a hook to, you know, it is what it is, but Crocodile, man, he's got it. You know, he had a whole arc as being the bad guy, and then he comes through and basically runs Buggy. Okay, I don't know how Buggy became one of the tops, but he's got Mihawk and Crocodile as his right and left hand, you know, and so you can't put it past him that he's good. You know, Crocodile is one of the tops. And so for me, it comes down to the fact of, would Gaara run out of chakra during their fight? And, or do we even know if Devil Fruit powers run out of steam? Like, is there any, like, capabilities of, like, oh man, I'm just too tired, you know, like, because I mean, we've seen Crocodile literally drain the life of people by sucking all the oxygen up through the sand, you know, and it's just like, bro, Gaara's turning around and closing people up in pyramids and shit, you know, and it's just like, all right, So it comes down to who's going to be better at the end of it, you know? And it's like, to me, just hear me out, okay? Crocodile is able to turn his whole body into sand. Now, Gaara controls sand. And we're not talking about Gaara with Shukaku, because Gaara got even more powerful without Shukaku. The One Tails was just his arc. You know, they both had an arc solely to themselves of how powerful they could be. But they both progressed throughout the story. So my thing is, Crocodile can turn his whole body into sand. What if, hear me out, what if Gaara catches him while he is sand-bodied? So now his devil fruit works against him because now he is sand itself due to his devil fruit. So now you're telling me, I think it's a Logia, right? Yeah, Logia. So you're telling me this fruit made you into sand, and now Gaara just put you on his back for good. Now you work for him. You know what I mean? Hear me out now. You know what I mean? It's just a little theory that I got. I feel like Gaara could come with that L, but then again, you know, if he takes him as sand itself, sucks him into the gourd, and now he controls him. But then what if Crocodile comes back and it's just like, boom, I turned back into my real body and I just shoved a hook through your chest because you put me on your back like I was a little backpack boy, and I'm not. You know, and I mean, Crocodile is that dude, bro. You know, and there was just, I don't know, man. It's a back and forth. Like, who would actually win? Because I don't believe devil fruit powers run out of steam like Naruto universe runs out of chakra. You know, but it's been shown before that Gaara can still, through his mother's spirit or whatever, he can control sand even when he's at his lowest chakra point. And the sand just naturally defends him. So, like, put all that into the mix. It's hard, bro. Like, I want to pick Gaara just because of his storyline and his background. It shows his character development. Crocodile's just an asshole for most of it, and it doesn't really show much. I mean, there's this one time where he went against Smoker and tried to assassinate him, and, I mean, that was pretty dope. But, I mean, even with the little amount that Gaara has within Naruto and Boruto, I don't like the hair, but overlook that. You know, even with that small amount of time versus 1,000 episodes, Gaara has more screen time and more feats than Crocodile does. So, Crocodile 2, Gaara 1. Sorry if I'm playing favorites, man. I already told y'all, this is my personal opinion. And I put it up for debate, you know what I mean? And I'm willing to switch that around. I don't see as much of Crocodile as I do Gaara. And Gaara just shows sand manipulation. I mean, they both chose to be in the desert, you know, through both of their arcs. I mean, Gaara lives in the desert. Crocodile just chose the only desert island to take over because it helped him. But as far as that, man, like, afterwards, I still feel like Gaara's going to take it, you know? I mean, now, if you put him on a ship in the middle of the ocean, Crocodile will probably take it. But if you come into his hometown, he got home field advantage, both of y'all got sand everywhere, Gaara's probably going to tap that. He going to be clapping cheeks, bro. I'm just saying. Gaara all day. Gaara number 1, Crocodile number 2. Y'all already seen the rest. Peace.